Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your phone ringing at midnight. You answer, and the voice on the other side belongs to someone who's been dead for years. This is the terrifying story of the call from the dead. The night was quiet, almost unnaturally still. David lay in bed staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. The clock on his nightstand glowed 12 a.m. in red numbers. He closed his eyes, hoping for rest. Then, his phone rang. The sound shattered the silence like glass breaking in the dark. David jumped, heart racing, as the ringtone echoed through the room. He glanced at the screen, expecting a familiar name. Instead, the number was strange. A long string of digits he didn't recognize. No location, no contact name, just numbers. For a moment he froze, debating whether to answer. Who would be calling at this hour? He let it ring once, twice, 3 times. His hand trembled as he reached for the phone. Against his better judgment, he pressed accept. "Hello?" David whispered. The room seemed colder now, though the heater was on. At first there was nothing but static. A soft crackling, like an old radio station struggling for signal. "Hello?" he repeated, voice shaking. Then, he heard it. A voice. Faint, broken, but unmistakable. "David, it's me." His chest tightened. His blood turned to ice. He knew that voice. He knew it too well. It was the voice of his mother. But his mother had been dead for 3 years. His grip on the phone loosened. He nearly dropped it onto the floor. This isn't real," he whispered to himself. But the voice spoke again. "Why don't you answer me, David?" His body trembled as sweat formed on his forehead. He wanted to hang up. Every instinct screamed to end the call. But something held him still. "Mom?" he asked, voice breaking. Silence. Then the static returned, louder this time. The call ended. The screen went black. He was left alone in the dark. For a long time, David sat in bed staring at his phone. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. "It's impossible," he muttered. "She's gone." He rubbed his eyes, telling himself he must have been dreaming. But the phone in his hand proved it wasn't a dream. The call log showed an incoming call. He tapped it. The number was still there. Long, random, wrong. But it was real. He placed the phone down and tried to calm himself. "It's a trick," he said. "It has to be. Scammers, hackers, a sick joke." But deep inside he knew better. That voice, it was hers. Minutes turned into hours. David didn't sleep. Every sound in the apartment made him jump. The creak of the old pipes, the hum of the refrigerator. Even the ticking of the clock seemed too loud. At 3 a.m., exhaustion finally pulled him into uneasy sleep. But dreams offered no escape. He dreamt of his childhood home. The kitchen light flickered. The smell of his mother's cooking lingered in the air. She was there, sitting at the table waiting for him, her face pale, her eyes hollow. "Why didn't you pick up sooner?" she asked. David tried to run, but his feet wouldn't move. He woke with a gasp. The clock showed 6 a.m. Sunlight leaked through the curtains, but the relief of morning didn't last. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, a new voicemail. He hesitated before unlocking it. His thumb hovered over the screen. Finally, he pressed play. The message was short. The voice was clear. "David, why did you leave me? I'm still waiting." He dropped the phone onto the bed. His mother's voice. The same tone she used to comfort him when he was a child. The same words she whispered when he moved away for the first time. "I'm still waiting." His hands covered his face as tears filled his eyes. "No," he whispered. "This isn't happening." But the voicemail was proof. It was happening. The rest of the day passed in a blur. David couldn't focus on work. Every time his phone buzzed, his heart skipped. He ignored most of the calls, but when he checked later, none of the numbers existed. "Out of service," the operator said. Yet somehow, his phone kept ringing. That night, he didn't turn off the lights. He didn't even lie down. He sat in a chair, staring at his phone, waiting. Midnight came again. The phone lit up. The same number, the same eerie digits. His throat went dry. He wanted to run, but his hand moved on its own. He answered. "David," the voice whispered. "It's so cold here." His body went numb. "Who are you?" he asked. "You know who I am." "No," David said, his voice trembling. "You're not her. You can't be." The line hissed with static, then silence, then breathing. Slow, shallow, inhuman. The voice returned. "Don't be afraid, I'll call again tomorrow." The line went dead. David's phone slipped from his hand. He sat in the chair, paralyzed. His mother had promised she would call again, and deep inside, he knew she would. He knew he was no longer safe. Not from the calls, not from the voice, not even from himself. The nightmare had only begun. The next morning, David avoided his phone. He left it face down on the table, as if turning it over might awaken something inside. The silence of his apartment felt heavier than usual. Every corner seemed to hum with quiet energy. He tried to distract himself with coffee, but his hands shook as he poured. The bitter liquid spilled over the edge of the cup. His nerves were frayed, and it wasn't even noon. The phone buzzed. He froze. It wasn't a call this time, just a notification. He forced himself to look. One unread text message. His chest tightened. Slowly, carefully, he tapped the screen. The sender. The same strange number from the night before. The message. "Why don't you talk to me, David?" His hands trembled as he set the phone back down. "No," he whispered. "This isn't real." But curiosity gnawed at him. Against his will, he typed back, "Who is this?" He waited. Seconds stretched into minutes. Then his phone buzzed again. "You know who I am." His vision blurred as panic took hold. "Stop it!" he shouted into the empty room. "You're not her." Silence. No reply. David pressed his palms to his eyes, trying to steady his breathing. He decided to do what any rational person would, trace the number. He opened his laptop and searched for a reverse lookup. He typed the digits carefully. The screen loaded slowly, too slowly. When the results appeared, his stomach dropped. The search returned nothing. Not unlisted, not private, just nothing. As if the number didn't exist. His phone buzzed again. Another text. "Why are you looking for me, David?" His blood ran cold. They knew. Whoever, whatever it was, they knew. That night, David tried to fight sleep. He turned on the TV for background noise, but every channel was static. He unplugged it, horrified. Midnight came as it always did. The phone lit up. The digits glowed brighter than before. His heart raced. He didn't want to answer. He couldn't answer. Yet his hand moved anyway. "Hello?" His voice cracked. The static was immediate, louder now, more violent. The sound filled the room like a storm. Through the noise, a whisper broke through. "David." His breath caught in his throat. "What do you want?" he asked. "I want to talk." "You're not real," he said. "You're not her." The whisper grew sharper. I am your mother. No. No, you can't be. Why don't you believe me? The voice cracked, half human, half static. You left me. You left me alone in the dark. David pressed his hands to his ears. Stop, he shouted. But the phone was still pressed against his face. He couldn't drop it. His fingers clung to it against his will. David, the voice whispered again. I forgive you. His knees buckled, and he sank to the floor. Tears streamed down his face. He wanted to believe. He wanted it to be true. But deep inside, fear gnawed at him. Something was wrong. Something wasn't right. The static faded into silence. Then came breathing. Slow. Deep. Wrong. Not human. His skin crawled as the sound echoed in his ear. Who are you? He demanded. Silence. Then the whisper. You'll see me soon. The line went dead. David sat on the floor, clutching the phone to his chest. His breath came in sharp gasps. His apartment felt smaller, darker, suffocating. He stood and stumbled to the door, checking the locks twice, then 3 times. Finally, he collapsed on the couch, staring at the ceiling. Sleep eventually dragged him under. His dreams were worse this time. He dreamt of his mother's grave. The soil was freshly disturbed, as though someone had been digging. He stood at the edge, frozen. Then a hand burst from the dirt, pale, clawing, reaching for him. He tried to scream, but no sound left his mouth. The hand wrapped around his ankle. The ground opened, swallowing him whole. He woke with a scream. The clock read 3:33 a.m. His phone was in his hand, though he didn't remember picking it up. A new message glowed on the screen. Did you like my dream, David? His heart stopped. He dropped the phone onto the floor, his hands shaking violently. No, this isn't happening, he whispered. But deep down, he knew it was real. Someone, or something, was reaching out to him. Not just through the phone, through his mind, through his dreams, through the grave itself. He tried to tell himself it was stress, lack of sleep, a breakdown. But the messages kept coming, every hour, every minute. Why don't you answer me? Why don't you believe me? I'm waiting for you, David. By morning, his phone was filled with dozens of unread messages, all from the same impossible number. He deleted them one by one, but they reappeared instantly. His battery never drained. The phone never shut off. It was as if the device no longer belonged to him, as if it belonged to her. He sat at the table, staring at the phone with bloodshot eyes. Exhaustion pulled at his body, but fear kept him awake. He knew one thing now. The calls wouldn't stop. The messages wouldn't end. The whispers would only grow louder. Until he finally answered the truth, or until the grave claimed him too. The third night came like a shadow David couldn't outrun. He hadn't slept. His eyes were hollow, his skin pale, and his nerves frayed. Coffee no longer kept him awake. Only fear did. He sat in the dark, staring at his phone. He knew it would ring. It always rang. At 12:01 a.m. exactly. The clock ticked closer. His heartbeat matched the seconds. Tick, tick, tick. Then it happened. The phone lit up. The same number glowed on the screen. His hand shook as he picked it up. He didn't want to answer, but he couldn't stop himself. He pressed accept. The static hit instantly, louder than before. It screamed in his ear like waves crashing inside his skull. He winced, pressing the phone harder against his head. Then the voice came. David. He flinched. The tone was softer tonight, almost gentle. But underneath was something else, something rotten. "Why do you keep running from me?" "You're not her," David whispered. "You can't be her. I am your mother. My mother is dead." Silence. Then a low chuckle, broken and wrong. "Death doesn't end everything, David." His chest tightened as the words echoed. "What are you?" he asked. The static roared, drowning the room. Through the noise, the whisper returned. "You know me. You've always known me." "No." David shook his head violently. "Stop lying." The voice sharpened, filled with anger. "I'm not lying, I'm waiting. I've been waiting so long." The phone burned hot in his hand. He dropped it, but the voice didn't stop. It filled the air, vibrating through the walls. "Don't ignore me, David. You can't ignore me anymore." He stumbled back, pressing his hands to his ears. The voice grew louder, multiplying. One whisper became two. Two became four. Soon the room was full of voices, all whispering his name, all calling for him. "David, David, David," he screamed. "Stop it." The whispers stopped. Silence pressed down like a heavy blanket. Then one voice returned, clear, sharp, cruel. "Answer me tomorrow, or I'll come find you." The call ended. His phone screen went black. David collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. His body shook as sweat drenched his shirt. He felt like he was losing his mind. Maybe he already had. He decided to test something. If this was real, if this was more than stress, he had to know. He unplugged his phone. He removed the SIM card. He even pulled out the battery. He set the dead device on the table and waited. Minutes dragged by. Then, the phone rang. His eyes widened in terror. The screen glowed bright, even without power. The same number appeared. The digits burned into his vision. He grabbed the phone with trembling hands. How is this happening?" he answered. The voice was calm now. "You can't turn me off, David." His stomach twisted into knots. He turned on the faucet, splashing water on his face. When he looked up, the mirror fogged. Words began to appear in the mist. "I'm waiting." His heart slammed against his ribs. He wiped the glass with his sleeve. But the words remained, carved into the surface. David staggered back, nearly tripping over himself. His phone buzzed on the floor. Another voicemail. He pressed play. Against every instinct, the message was short. His mother's voice whispered, calm and chilling. "Don't make me come get you." He turned off the phone. He threw it into a drawer. He locked the drawer. But deep inside, he knew it didn't matter. She would still call. She would always call. That night, sleep refused to come. He sat on the couch, staring into the dark. Every shadow looked alive. Every creak of the apartment made him jump. Around 3 a.m., his head finally dropped. His eyes closed. Dreams swallowed him whole. He dreamt of a hallway, long, endless. The walls dripped with water, though no pipes were visible. At the end stood a single door. His mother's voice called from behind it. "David, come here." His feet moved on their own, dragging him closer. The door loomed larger with every step. His hand reached for the knob. He tried to pull away, but his body betrayed him. He turned it. The door creaked open. Inside was nothing but darkness. A phone rang from within. Louder, louder, until it filled his skull. He screamed as the darkness swallowed him. He jolted awake, drenched in sweat. His phone sat on the table. The screen glowed with one new message. Tomorrow is the last call. The final night came faster than David expected. He hadn't eaten in days. He hadn't slept without nightmares. His apartment smelled of fear, stale air, and coffee gone cold. The blinds were drawn, but the darkness still crept in. He sat in the living room, phone in hand. The screen was black, but he could feel it humming. He knew what was coming. She promised. Tonight would be the last call. The clock ticked toward midnight. His heart matched every second. Tick, tick, tick. The moment the numbers changed to 12:01 a.m., the phone lit up. The digits glowed like fire. His throat tightened. His fingers shook. He pressed accept. The static was unbearable, filling every corner of the room. It vibrated in his bones, rattled his teeth, shook the glass on the shelves. He pressed the phone harder against his ear, though it hurt. "Hello?" he whispered. The voice came instantly. "David." The tone was soft, almost loving. His eyes filled with tears. "Why are you doing this to me?" The voice sighed. "Because you left me." "You're not her," David shouted. "You're not my mother." Silence. Then the voice cracked. "I am all mothers. I am all voices. I am every soul that calls from the dark." David's skin went cold. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice breaking. "I told you already." The whisper grew sharper, hungrier. "I want you." His phone burned hot in his hand. He screamed and dropped it, but it hovered in midair, suspended by nothing. The screen glowed brighter, flooding the room with pale light. Faces flickered across it. Hundreds. Thousands. Twisting, screaming, all whispering his name. "David. David. David." He stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. His breathing grew ragged. He clutched his head, trying to block them out. But the whispers only grew louder. They filled his skull. They pounded against his brain. "Stop it!" he cried. "Please, stop it!" The phone dropped to the floor. The screen cracked but still glowed. From it, a shadow stretched outward, long, thin, crawling across the carpet like spilled ink. It slithered toward him. He backed away, but the wall met his shoulders. The shadow reached his feet. Cold spread through his body like frostbite. The voice whispered again, "Don't fight me, David. This is the last call." His chest heaved. His tears blurred his vision. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you answered." The shadow wrapped around his legs. It crawled higher, gripping his chest, his arms. He screamed, struggling against the darkness, but the harder he fought, the stronger it pulled. His body was dragged across the floor toward the phone. His fingernails scratched deep lines into the wood. "No, please, I don't want this." The voice grew sharper, angrier. "You belong to me now." His body trembled as the shadow swallowed him. He gasped for air, but the darkness filled his lungs. His eyes widened in terror. His last scream echoed through the apartment. Then silence. The phone lay still on the floor. The screen dimmed, then went black. The room was silent, as though nothing had happened. Hours later, the sun rose. Its light spilled through the blinds, chasing away the shadows. But David was gone. Days passed before anyone noticed. A neighbor complained about the smell. The landlord used a spare key to enter. Inside, the apartment was empty. No sign of struggle, no sign of David. Only his phone remained, lying on the floor. The police picked it up. The screen cracked back to life. The call log showed one final entry. Received call, 12:01 a.m. Caller ID, Mother. The officers exchanged uneasy looks. Must be a glitch, one muttered. But the log showed something else. A voicemail. The officer pressed play. Static roared from the speaker, filling the empty apartment. Then came the whisper. "Don't worry. He's with me now." The phone shut itself off. No one could turn it back on again. Weeks later, the phone was placed in evidence storage. But sometimes at night it would light up. The same number would appear. Calling, always at 12:01 a.m. And sometime, if you were unlucky enough to answer, you'd hear a voice whisper your name. The line has gone silent, but remember, the next call could be for you. If you survived this story, leave a candle emoji in the comments and so we know you are still here. And if you want more nightmares, more haunted legends, more voices that whisper in the dark, subscribe and join us, because the night is only beginning.